You think turning a woman on is about saying the perfect thing, using the right line, creating the right mood, pressing the right button. But the fastest way to turn a woman on is not what you do to her. It's who you are when you stand in front of her. You keep looking for technique because technique feels safer than truth. Technique lets you hide. Technique lets you pretend attraction is a script, a trick, a sequence. But here's the problem. Women do not get deeply moved by performance for very long. They get moved by reality. They get moved by a man who is not begging to be chosen while acting like he's in control. They get moved by congruence, by groundedness, by self-respect, by presence that doesn't shake. And if you need reminders like this, real reminders, not comfort, not fantasy, not little lies that keep you weak, subscribe, because you do not need more noise. You need truth repeated until you live it. Here's what it really means when a woman is turned on by you. It does not just mean she likes your face. It does not just mean she thinks you're smooth. It means your energy feels safe without being soft, strong without being loud, calm without being dull. It means she feels your attention, but she also feels that your attention has standards. It means she can sense that you want her, but you do not need her to rescue your confidence. That difference is everything. Want is attractive. Need is pressure. Desire is attractive. Desperation is heavy. Presence is magnetic. Performance is exhausting. One pulls her in, the other makes her feel like she has work to do. Most men get this wrong at the first step. They think attraction rises when they give more. More compliments, more texts, more jokes, more explaining, more reassurance, more chasing. They think if they show enough interest, enough effort, enough approval, she will finally relax into desire. But overgiving is often not generosity. It's negotiation. That's called covert pleading. It is not confidence. It is fear wearing cologne. You are not expressing yourself. You are auditioning, and a man in an audition cannot be fully desired because everybody can feel he is waiting on a verdict. You know what turns her off faster than a lack of money, a lack of style, even a lack of polished charisma? A lack of center, a man who is mentally on his knees. A man who abandons his own rhythm the second a woman appears. A man who cannot hold eye contact without trying to impress. A man who cannot let silence breathe because he thinks silence means failure. A man who agrees with everything because he is terrified disagreement will cost him access. A man who sends signals that say, please like me, and then I'll know I'm enough. She may not say it out loud. She may not even consciously understand it, but she feels it. Women feel your relationship with yourself long before they trust your words about her. And why does this happen? Root cause, not surface behavior. Root cause. It happens because too many men build their identity around female response. If she replies fast, you feel powerful. If she pulls away, you feel worthless. If she flirts, you feel alive. If she seems uncertain, your whole nervous system starts negotiating for survival. That means you are not meeting her from strength. You are meeting her from hunger. You are not leading your life. You are trying to extract permission to feel valuable. And when a man is using a woman to stabilize his self-worth, she can feel the pull, even if he smiles, even if he says the right words, even if he acts confident. Because confidence is not volume. Confidence is not swagger. Confidence is not leaning back in a chair and repeating internet phrases. Confidence is emotional non-dependence. Confidence is liking the woman without collapsing in front of the possibility of losing her. That is why some men walk into a room and say almost nothing, yet the room shifts around them. Not because they're magical, not because women are irrational, not because there's some hidden code only a few men learn. The room shifts because that man is not there to take. He is there to be. He is not scanning for approval. He is observing. He is choosing. He is relaxed enough to notice details. He is steady enough to let tension build naturally. He is strong enough to tolerate uncertainty. He is man enough to let a woman reveal herself instead of trying to force a reaction out of her. That's called grounded masculine presence. And no, it's not a costume. It's not a beard, a deep voice, a leather jacket, a slow nod. It's inner posture. It's the absence of self-betrayal. Read that again in your mind. The absence of self-betrayal. That is the axis. Because the fastest way to turn a woman on is to stop turning yourself off. You stop lying about what you want. You stop pretending not to care when you care. You stop acting more invested than you are when you're lonely. You stop over-explaining simple things. You stop giving your best energy to people who give you crumbs. You stop abandoning your standards because she's attractive. You stop making a woman your mission when she hasn't even shown you character. You stop. You stop. You stop. And in that stopping, something powerful happens. Your energy becomes clean. Clean energy is rare. Clean energy says, I'm here. I see you. I'm interested, and I'm still myself. Clean energy does not grab. It does not hover. It does not leak insecurity through fake intensity. It does not try to manufacture intimacy before trust exists. It does not rush toward romance because it cannot tolerate the space between curiosity and connection. Clean energy allows the moment to breathe. Dirty energy forces the moment to produce. Do you see the difference? One says, let's see what this is. The other says, please become what I need. Women can feel that difference in seconds. And this costs you more than dates when you get it wrong. It costs you your dignity. It costs you your edge. It costs you your ability to think clearly. It costs you your standards. It costs you your sleep. It costs you your work. It costs you your discipline. It costs you your peace. How many men have sabotaged themselves chasing the emotional high of being wanted? How many have ignored red flags because attention felt intoxicating? How many have overinvested in women they barely knew because fantasy moved faster than reality? That's the cost. You lose reality. You start relating to your own projection instead of the person in front of you. You don't see her. You see what she could make you feel. That's not attraction. That's dependency in a suit. So let's reframe the whole thing. Your job is not to get her turned on. Your job is to become the kind of man around whom attraction can happen naturally. That is a very different mission. One is control. The other is cultivation. One is anxiety. The other is mastery. One is external manipulation. The other is internal alignment. You are not trying to crack a code. You are building a life, a body, a mind, a presence, a standard, and an emotional steadiness that make your attention feel meaningful. That is why the fastest way is also the deepest way. Because the moment a woman feels that you are not trying to extract validation from her, you become dangerous in the best sense. Not because you are threatening, because you are free. Freedom is attractive. Why? Because it creates polarity without pressure. A woman can relax around a man who can hold himself. A woman can open around a man who is not unconsciously demanding that she parent his emotions. A woman can trust tension when it is not contaminated by neediness. That's why presence beats lines. That's why eye contact beats over-talking. That's why grounded silence beats nervous entertainment. That's why restraint beats over pursuit. You thought attraction was built by addition. Often it is built by subtraction. Less proving, less chasing, less talking, less performing, more listening, more certainty, more standards, more spine. Let me tell you who the man is. The man. Not the loud man, not the flashy man, not the fake alpha clown performing dominance for insecure boys online. The man who turns a woman on at the deepest level is the man who belongs to himself. He has a life that exists before she arrives and continues if she leaves. He is affectionate but not cheap, warm but not sloppy, open but not porous. He doesn't flirt from starvation. He flirts from overflow. He is not trying to trap a woman into choosing him. He is giving her the chance to meet him. He asks questions because he's discerning, not because he's reading a seduction blog. He can laugh. He can lead. He can disagree without panic. He can desire without worshiping. He can walk away without bitterness. He does not collapse into coldness to look strong. He does not collapse into eagerness to feel safe. He stays rooted. His boundaries are not punishments. They are proof of self-respect. He doesn't stay in half-energy dynamics. He doesn't explain his value to people committed to misunderstanding him. He doesn't beg for clarity from someone enjoying confusion. He doesn't keep texting into dead space to prove he cares. He notices. He adjusts. He continues with his life. He is kind, but he is not available for nonsense. He is patient, but he is not passive. He has purpose, and you can feel it in the way he speaks, the way he moves, the way he waits, the way he leaves. He is not frantic for an outcome. That is exactly why outcomes start moving toward him. And before you say, that sounds detached, no. Detached is dead. Detached is hiding. Detached is fear disguised as coolness. Grounded is different. Grounded means you feel the attraction fully, but you are not ruled by it. You can enjoy her beauty without losing your brain. You can appreciate her warmth without assigning her the job of saving your loneliness. You can want more without forcing more. That is mature masculine energy. It is not numb. It is disciplined. It is not cold. It is regulated. It is not manipulative. It is honest enough to stay standing. You want to know why this turns women on so quickly? Because most people are used to being around fragmented energy. Performative energy, agenda energy, validation-seeking energy. Energy that says one thing while begging for another. So when a woman encounters a man who is coherent, who is direct, who is at ease in his body, who is not trying to overmanage her perception, it lands. It lands hard. She feels seen without being cornered. She feels tension without chaos. She feels the possibility of being with a man instead of babysitting a boy. And that awakens something. Not because you hacked her psychology. Because you stopped violating your own. Let's make this practical. If you want to become more attractive starting now, stop trying to create sparks through excess. Stop texting all day to feel connected to someone you barely know. Stop sending paragraphs because you can't tolerate not hearing back. Stop complimenting her every 5 minutes as if your approval is a currency. Stop agreeing with everything she says because you think friction kills attraction. Sometimes the opposite is true. Attraction dies when a man has no edges, no opinions, no center, no gravity. You don't need to become difficult. You need to become real. Do this instead. Slow your impulses down. When you want to send 3 messages, send 1. When you want to explain yourself for 10 minutes, give the clean sentence and let it stand. When you want to chase mixed signals, step back and observe patterns. When you feel the urge to impress, ask a better question and actually listen to the answer. When you notice yourself fantasizing about the future with a woman you barely know, pull yourself back to the present. What has she actually shown you? What have you actually shared? What is real? Stay there. Reality is your ally. Fantasy is where weak men lose leverage, time, and peace. Look at your body. Look at the way you carry yourself. Are you physically present, or are you vibrating with unspent anxiety? Because arousal is not just mental. Your nervous system speaks before your mouth does. Breathe slower, stand taller, relax your jaw, make eye contact without trying to dominate. Listen without fidgeting. Speak like you mean what you say and don't need to oversell it. Pause. Let there be space. Let there be silence. Let there be tension. Not manufactured tension, honest tension. The kind that appears when you are not running from the moment. Most men kill tension because they are uncomfortable with being seen. But being seen is the whole game. If you cannot be seen, you cannot be desired. You can only be evaluated. Stop peacocking. Stop overperforming confidence. Stop trying to look desired. Become desirable. There is a difference. Looking desired is social theater. Becoming desirable is character. Looking desired is chasing optics. Becoming desirable is building substance. Looking desired says, please notice me. Becoming desirable says, if you notice me, you'll feel something real. Which one lasts? Which one survives after the drinks, after the flirting, after the first rush fades? Substance survives. Center survives. Self-respect survives. And let's talk about masculine self-respect, because too many men hear that phrase and think ego. No. Ego is brittle. Self-respect is quiet. Ego needs an audience. Self-respect works in private. Ego performs scarcity as pride. Self-respect simply refuses self-abandonment. Self-respect means you do not over-pursue disinterest. Self-respect means you do not keep negotiating with inconsistency. Self-respect means you do not lower your standards for temporary access to beauty. Self-respect means you do not let attraction override discernment. She can be stunning. She can be charming. She can be electric and still not be for you. Can you handle that? Can you hold that? Because the man who can is the man who becomes powerful. You know what else turns a woman on? Feeling that your life is moving somewhere. Purpose matters. Direction matters. Not because she needs you to be rich tomorrow, but because drift is unattractive. Aimlessness leaks. If your whole life revolves around dopamine hits, attention, and romantic pursuit, she feels the emptiness under the charm. But when you are building something, when you are committed to something larger than your appetite, your energy changes. Your time has weight. Your attention has value. Your presence has consequence. You are no longer available for every emotional detour. And paradoxically, that makes your affection more powerful, not less. Because it is chosen, not spilled. So here's the sequence. Tight. Simple. Do this. First, detach your self-worth from female response. Not your care. Your worth. She does not define your value by liking you. Second, slow down your pursuit. Let curiosity breathe before investment starts sprinting. Third, tighten your standards. Stop rewarding inconsistency with extra effort. Fourth, strengthen your body and your routine so your confidence has a physical home. Fifth, speak plainly. No dancing. No fog. No over-explaining. Sixth, bring your attention back to your purpose every time obsession tries to hijack your mind. Redirect. 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 Seventh, let women meet the real you, not the edited version begging for acceptance. Eighth, if the energy is not mutual, leave with grace and keep your dignity intact. That is power, not forcing, not sulking, leaving clean. And yes, this means you may lose some women faster. Good, good. Stop trying to win every room. Stop trying to convert every maybe into a yes. Stop trying to preserve access to people who thrive on ambiguity. You are not here to be universally approved. You are here to be fully real. The faster misaligned dynamics fall away, the faster aligned dynamics can find you. This is what weak men don't understand. They think rejection is proof they need more tricks. Sometimes rejection is proof you finally stopped betraying yourself. Sometimes losing access is the price of becoming honest. Pay it. Pay it gladly. Because every time you refuse to self-abandon for attention, you get stronger. And when the right woman feels that strength, she doesn't just hear it. She exhales into it. She feels the difference between a man trying to get lucky and a man who is deeply awake. She feels the difference between being hunted for validation and being desired with clarity. She feels the difference between chaos and groundedness, pressure and polarity, fantasy and reality. You don't need to tell her you're different. She can tell by what you don't do. You don't rush. You don't cling. You don't posture. You don't collapse. You don't over-negotiate. You don't fake mystery. You don't perform indifference. You don't chase what's running. You remain who you are. That's the paradox. The fastest way is slower than your impulses and faster than your games. Slower on the outside. Faster underneath. Because the moment you stop leaking need, attraction has room to breathe. The moment you stop making her responsible for your internal state, she can actually feel you. The moment you stop trying to make something happen, something real can start happening. That is why men who master themselves often seem effortless. Effortless is not the absence of work. It is the result of inner work done well. Calm is earned. Clarity is earned. Standards are earned. Restraint is earned. Presence is earned. And if you are hearing this and realizing you've been performing, good. That awareness is not shame. It's freedom. If you are hearing this and realizing you've been chasing validation under the name of love, good. That truth is expensive, but it will save you years. If you are hearing this and realizing that your attraction patterns have been exposing your wounds, good. Now you can heal with direction instead of distracting yourself with romance. You do not need to become harder. You need to become cleaner. You do not need less heart. You need less need. You do not need to suppress desire. You need to discipline it so it serves your values instead of your emptiness. Understand this clearly. Being a man of self-respect does not mean becoming emotionally unavailable. It means becoming emotionally sovereign. That's called maturity. That's called power. You can care deeply and still keep your frame. You can want intimacy and still require reciprocity. You can be generous and still have standards. You can pursue and still remain grounded. You can be tender without becoming weak. You can be strong without becoming hard. The world tries to sell you extremes because extremes are easier to market. Be numb. Be nice. Be toxic. Be passive. Be obsessed. Be detached. No. Be integrated. Be clear. Be awake. When you walk into your next interaction, do not ask, how do I make her like me? Ask, can I stay honest, grounded, and self-respecting in this moment? That question will change your life, because now the interaction is no longer a test of your worth. It is a test of your alignment. And alignment is attractive, deeply attractive. A man who remains himself under pressure is rare. A man who can feel desire without surrendering his dignity is rare. A man who can offer attention without begging for certainty is rare. Become rare. Be the man who listens fully and still thinks for himself. Be the man who speaks desire without making it a demand. Be the man who notices inconsistency early and does not romanticize it. Be the man whose presence slows the room down because he is not frantic. Be the man whose attraction is felt because it is clean, not because it is loud. Be the man who can smile, flirt, lead, laugh, and then go back to his mission without emotional collapse. That man does not have to chase chemistry. Chemistry meets him halfway. You have spent enough time trying to win by strategy what can only be sustained by identity. Enough pretending, enough overthinking, enough outsourcing your power. Enough making women the mirror you use to decide whether you matter today. You matter before the date. You matter after the rejection. You matter in the silence. You matter without the text back. And once you know that, not intellectually, not as a slogan, but in your nervous system, you stop moving like a beggar in expensive clothes. You move like a man, quietly, clearly, cleanly. So the fastest way to get a woman turned on is this. Turn your attention back toward the man in the mirror and build someone whose presence means something. Build the body that can hold calm. Build the mind that can reject fantasy. Build the standards that protect your dignity. Build the purpose that keeps your life from orbiting random desire. Build the honesty that makes your words land. Build the restraint that lets tension live. Build the self-respect that does not bargain itself away for beauty. That is the work. That is the shortcut nobody wants, because it is not a trick. It is transformation. And the beautiful part is this. When you do this, it doesn't just help you with women. It gives you your life back. Your focus comes back. Your peace comes back. Your discipline comes back. Your humor comes back. Your standards come back. Your center comes back. You stop living in reaction. You stop drowning in mixed signals. You stop romanticizing what is not there. You stop making every spark sacred. You become less easily hypnotized, more awake, more selective, more alive. That is when desire stops being a battlefield and becomes a byproduct of the way you live. That is when women stop feeling like puzzles and start feeling like people. That is when your interactions stop being performances and start becoming encounters. That is when your confidence stops needing witnesses. That is when your masculinity stops being an image and becomes a felt reality. That is when you finally understand that attraction is not something you squeeze out of another person. It is something your presence permits. So stop asking how to be more wanted and start asking how to be more whole. Stop asking what line to use and start asking what standard you need. Stop asking how to hold her attention and start asking why you keep abandoning your own. Stop chasing effect. Build cause. Stop worshiping response. Strengthen source. Stop searching for the answer in her eyes. You are the answer. And if this is the kind of truth you need in your ear, truth that sharpens you, steadies you, and pulls you back to yourself, subscribe now, because weak culture will keep trying to seduce you into confusion. Let this be the place that reminds you who you are. Stay close. Stay sharp. Stay with men who choose clarity over comfort, discipline over fantasy, self-respect over scraps. You're not alone in this. You're part of a brotherhood that remembers what it means to stand tall.